I welcome you all again. All our panelists are here, and thank you so much for joining. We will start in next 1 minute. We will be starting in next 1 minute. We have a special guest today who is going to join very soon.
Hello, greetings.
Farzam, how's it going?
Very well. How are you doing? My video is not coming up.
It's okay. We forgive, considering that you're in, I believe, Zimbabwe.
Yes, Zimbabwe, as we say in Chinese, Jinbu Pawe.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you're here with us, and I believe this week we're all traveling.
Yes. No, this is a historic moment. We have only a few days left, and then this will trigger the whole system to go to higher orbit. And so we'll be with it. And of course, tonight, nearly past your midnight, we will have our Chinese session. Huh?
Absolutely. Just in a couple more hours, I'm pleased to have an opportunity to speak to Farzam one-on-one, both using Farzam's native language, Mandarin, which is the more dominant and official dialect in
my hometown.
Absolutely. I'm also traveling, and this is me wearing the Stable Down t-shirt.
I have the same t-shirt, except more colorful.
Absolutely. Thanks again for everyone's patience. I believe we have a good amount of participants. Thank you for being part of the Boardroom Zoom. We're here this time to talk about the visibility into how we structure the capital guarantee. I know there has been many feedback from the community looking for visibility into that, and Tris, along with Nick, and along with our partners who are managing the structuring for this capital guarantee, will be able to shed some light on that over time. But I think it'll be great on a high level that today we focus on just some visibility into how these PCC structures are organized. PCCs are short for, I believe, protected cell corporations, and they're not something that retail level participants have visibility and access over, because the compliance cost is very high. That is why we're operating this as a DAO, to give access to retail investors this PCC structure. I've been able to, over the last 6 months, learn a lot about these kind of structures, and how that they've initially started in 1997 and have been used by the insurance industry predominantly, but of course, banks and pension funds also heavily have adopted the structure, because the protection of offered in a PCC is of the highest level. Ownership of the PCC cannot change without the participation of a court order. What that means is assets put into a PCC are held indefinitely until distribution, and this is why a PCC structure, it makes the most sense for something that we are providing a 10-year structured guarantee over. Tris, I would like to hand the baton over to you, because you understand a lot more about this structure. Everything I know about these structures around PCCs are from you. So please, if you could talk a little bit more on this very boring but very important subject to our audience, that'll be great.
Yes, of course. Well, the protective cell has been around, as Sam said, for some time now. Originally started in the Channel Islands, and now actually has been copied by a lot of other offshore centres as a structure. It's particularly strong, normally originally within the insurance industry and with large pension funds in Europe. It's popular because it's made up of many different cells which can meet different needs, and it doesn't require you to set up a new structure each time. Also, the cell is extremely strong. I think Nick can confirm that it's very difficult to change the ownership of a cell. Isn't that right, Nick?
That's correct. And it also limits the ability to collateralize.
Right. So, and within the structure then, within the cell itself, you can add notes, with structured notes, basically they're called. And of course, these are things that you buy, should we say, off the shelf as an institution. Isn't that right, Nick?
Yes, I mean, a structured note provides a limited recourse capacity to insulate a pool of securities.
Right. So this allows a very, very strong protection for those that are benefiting from a cell like a structured like a PCC. PCC being the acronym for Protected Cell Company. I know that you have operated these before, Nick. They're not cheap to operate, are they?
No, they're not. They require it's an institutional product.
Exactly. So what we're doing is we're bringing an institutional product to the stable DAO subscribers. That's what we're doing here. So in a way, we would like everyone to compare an apple with an apple and not an apple with an orange, which is, I think, has been happening, Sam. So hopefully that's enough background. Is there anything else that you think they'd like to know?
Well, I think to give some visibility of just the history of PCC, I believe that it was first started in the Channel Islands, and how it's then spread in usage and adoption around the world. So, you know, I think the subscribers of our newly built community would love to learn about how we're creating this level of inflexibility for their benefit, because what we are truly building is something that will last 10 years and beyond. So that would be really exciting for you to just go into a little bit of history of this kind of structure, and out of the many structures that we could have put into the DAO, we chose to do it as a PCC.
Yeah, so we looked at many different structures, and for a period as long as 10 years, there weren't many that actually removed most options, because you want something that's going to be in a jurisdiction that is well established, well regulated, has been there for many years itself. And I think if you look back, I'm not absolutely sure, but I would say Channel Islands is almost one of the first, if not the very first, of offshore locations. So you couldn't get more stable, and you couldn't get more long-term than the Channel Islands. Nick and I are really familiar with the structure. We've known about it. I've known about it for at least 15 years. I think Nick might have known about it longer than me. So Nick is the super expert. And I've been part of a cell which was operated by a pension fund that I used to work with, one of my clients. I've been part of a cell for some captive offshore insurance. And I know that Nick's operating one. So I know that he's at another level again of experience with the structure. So I bow to his greater knowledge. But I would be very hard put. I mean, there are, of course, other structures, but I'd be hard put to find a more robust offshore structure than this one. Would that be right, Nick? What do you think?
Look, it's a very effective structure for what we're trying to achieve, which is isolating our assets from other assets, not allowing them to be cross-collateralized, and ensuring that the underlying shareholders have a degree of independence within their capital.
Right, and I think independence is also key in this regard. So, given the history and the background, I think we've made a great choice, and I'm very optimistic about how it's going to be operating for everybody. Sam.
Sam, you're on mute. Sam, you're on mute, buddy.
Sorry about that. Thank you. So, I'm not used to managing my own phone. So the PCC, I believe, is a structure that has been adopted by over 50 jurisdictions. So if this structure is not something that is working, it will not gain such widespread adoption. It is an institutional structure. And what we're doing is taking an institutional structure that allows institutions to feel comfortable and bringing it into a retail market. And a layer of management is done through the DAO, and of course defined through the governance of the DAO. And I feel that this opens up a world of new opportunities for what can be potentially tapped into in terms of asset and upside in a CeFi environment, where decentralized finance comes into the centralized and classical financial ecosystem. The opportunity, I think, of us taking up value creation cannot be any better described than Farzam, who is currently spearheading in Zimbabwe, I believe. And you are, I believe, with an official delegation, and I think it'll be great if you could give some color to the people in our audience here on what you've been able to see on the ground.
Sure. Actually, I am the official delegation of one, invited by the president and by what we call the national security. And basically, because these countries, the defense system is above presidency. And in this situation, the whole military is not involved in war. In this country, it's been a very peaceful country. Even the transition of power was done very peacefully in 2017. So they are interested, and it's very interesting, they have management of economy. The military is not involved in the economy, but they have supervision over the economy, the whole nation. So I have been invited because I have designed an entire elaborate, comprehensive system for a total economic and financial upgrade of the nation, what I call the collective peaceful rise of Africa, in this situation, Zimbabwe. So they are the group that fully has endorsed this initiative and want to implement it. And even their original plan were thinking that, oh, let's improve a little bit Zimbabwe to be not a poor country. Then emboldened, they said we should become a second world-class society. Now, with my vision, they want to become super first world-class community. And interestingly, they have a benchmark, and that's Rwanda, that is progressing very fast. And so they want to surpass. So I think there will be a whole financial system upgrade, as well as, because this Zimbabwe was in higher level than even South Africa before. And there's a few elements about the country. First, the 20 million population is a very manageable size, not small, not big. Out of the 20 million, 3 million are foreigners. Nobody knows that they were the British and European, as well as Indian, that came 2 to 3 generations, and Italians and others. So these communities themselves have made this nation very global, industrial base very strong, infrastructure quite good, and it had been down because of the, what South Africa went through, but they're coming back up. So the whole point will be that tons of projects will be in our hand. So, and one layer is the agriculture, then is mining, then is infrastructure, then is industry, then the finance, Ministry of Finance, and then they are definitely already decided to create sovereign wealth fund, future generation fund in digital economy with future trends, and that means with stable Dao. So we will have in the future a quick, not we call it a branch, but a whole, what we call a sub-Dao, developed for Africa, and for that matter, some of the countries whose leaders collectively already endorsed the Future Trends Africa Manifesto, and they want to implement it. And these countries are Zimbabwe first, Ghana the second, and Nigeria the third, and the 2 Congos. Then we have Mali, and we have Burkina Faso, and also Ivory Coast, and then a few other countries. So this is part of the initiative I started last year, and it is called the Collective Rise of Africa. It's both a movement and also action. It's restructuring of the whole of the economy. So hopefully the investor community that is with you, with us, Sam, added to the African local investor community, we will repeat what we are doing with Malaysia. Next phases, we will do it with Africa. And in Africa, we have like an entirely new China. The population of Africa is 1.4 billion. They are the early stage of development. So as China, I spearheaded the collective rise of China. And so the same thing now, I am doing it with Africa. And I really invite yourself, Trees, and your whole system, and we as the partners of the Stable Dao, but also our entire community to consider that in a non-distant future, they will come to a very mature system, a stable economy in African emerging markets, with a series of projects that we will have a priority right basis, because we are the architecture engineer of the whole. You can call it, if you say, now we are talking about Web 3. Okay, imagine the economy of Africa 3, version 3. Hyper jump upgrade of the economy of the whole nation. That's what we are working on. It includes, as I said, infrastructure, further processing, and also further value across the chain creation. And the core of it is banking, finance, and financial basically upgrade, and also what we call even creation of markets. So our exchanges, the digital exchanges and classic exchanges will have a room here, as well as the community and the futures trading, because right now they have a whole base of a large, you can say miles upon miles of agricultural technologies and equipment and products showrooms. We are doing now one for the minerals and the mining. And minerals and mining, the precious metals, are one of the key winner systems here in these countries. So theirs has been an artisanal, that means hand-picked gold or silver or others with the small tools. Now we are upgrading for the tools to become more healthy and also give them more longer life of these workers. They will be digitalized, they will be on blockchain, there will be logging of all their mining operations. And we don't need to tie the business to the $1 to the gram of gold, but to the gold production ecosystem and supply chain, which means it could be a multiplier effect value. It doesn't have to be a tied. So it will be, again, another hybrid, a stable DAO with a stable production of assets, but with the multiplier effect added to it also. So these are all just as knowledge we want to share now, but in a very not distant future, the next generation of the funding that we will raise will go to these directions.
Amazing.
At the moment, the #1 general of the nation, the chief of staff, and also the head of the national security is fully behind us, and not alone as one person, but the entire team of 8 groupings of, and then inside the military, they have the economic board. And so they will supervise every ministry. So they have arranged with the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Digitalization, the Governor of Central Bank, and also the pillar industries to be into that picture. We are building consensus, and also all their projects will come to one table. So it's like a banquet table for the global investor community to come in an arrayed arrangement and a very transparent arrangement. So it will take a few 2 to 3 months to organize it. So our next phase of stable DAO, we can focus on diversification of projects.
Okay, yes, I'm unmuted. Good. Thank you so much for that update, Farzam. We're because of how this is very impactful news, going to be looking forward to the photos that you're taking, the announcements that you're making for the Zimbabwe market, and that will be updated into our news portal that will be on the Stable DAO website. So that's really exciting. I would just like to invite Garrett to give the community an update. I believe we're now only 4 days away from closing the registrations, because we do need to catch up on KYC, and KYC activation is required for the rewards to be credited to everyone's account. So it would be great for Garrett to talk on the progress of signups and the logistics as we do the final 4 days of this 2-week-long early participation program promotion.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. So as Sam was saying, we are coming up on the closing of the EPP on the 29th. We've got about 3 days and 23 hours left, which, considering we had a 2-week time, we're pushing really hard, and we thank the community for being such a huge part of this, because without you, we wouldn't be here right now. So as Sam said, the 29th we're closing. Over the last 24 hours, we've had over 5,000 registrations. We've been slowly ramping up these registrations, increasing how many people are coming on board to the Stable DAO platform. Our total users registered right now is reaching 220,000, which is a pretty amazing number. And the things are, continuously growing. We're very happy to see the reaction from the community, and we can't keep up with KYCs because they're coming in so fast. And we're pushing as hard as we can, and we want to just guarantee everybody that they will be processed in a due time. And if things go past the 29th, we're going to credit everybody's KYC. So don't worry if things don't get cleared by the 29th. We're going to keep pushing. We had part of the community that was a little bit concerned, and we just want to make sure that you guys understand that we're standing behind you, because without you standing. Because without you standing behind us, things would be nowhere near as far along as we would hope for them to be. So there's only 4 days left. Actually, less than 4 days left. Our next Zoom is going to be on the 29th, and we're going to be discussing a few things, but more importantly, the timeline and more good news, in comparison to some of the things that have been going on. And we just want to let you know that we're pushing. So we want to thank you. There's also a small update on the DAO Nows. I keep on pushing them out, giving people daily updates. The software is coming along very nice. We want you to basically be a part of our, information phase and to be a part of the DAO Nows. And we're very excited for you guys to be with us. So thanks, Tim.
Yeah, great. And I understand there are those who want to dive into the nitty-gritty and listen to us go through some of the information over a 30-40-minute session. But for those who are time poor and just want bite-sized information, I think Garrett and his DAO Now strategy is a great way to consume that kind of information. So I want to also highlight that the last 4 days of registrations, it is important that we run the registrations as hard as possible, because having the registrations happening on the last day is always going to mean that the KYC won't come through as quickly. And if it doesn't come through quickly, then we can't reward you as soon as we tick over from the 29th to the 30th. So let's focus on really not waiting until the last day or the last hour to get your accounts registered and your KYC submitted, because the backlog is just going to continue to increase. There's only so much capacity we put on.
Sam, a question: what is the rate of our KYC registration versus the registered people and the KYC? What's the rate? What's the lagging behind?
Well, I think there's now over 90,000 people out of the 220,000 registered that have submitted. Yes, 90,000 people that have submitted their KYC. We're 2/3 through that, so we're around 20 to 25,000 KYCs behind, and we are working through that. But if all of a sudden, everybody completes their KYC, that means that's an additional 100,000 KYCs that that we need to process in the last 4 days.
No, it is a good situation that we, as the founders,
Yes.
we would want less investors than more at the moment. So you can pay in one sense.
It is, but our commitment is we want everybody to be credited as soon as possible, because we do feel like what we are creating is really significant value to the benefit of a huge group of people who really need this opportunity. And the driver of us doing so much KYC is because we need everybody to participate in the right way. So another 100,000 KYCs in the next 4 days is going to be troublesome, because we're processing around about 11 to 13,000 KYCs a day. And that would mean we can only really handle any KYCs and registrations on time before the end of the month. If these registration and KYCs were to come in the next 24 to 36 hours, anything that comes in a little bit after that will be in a backlog and won't be receiving the rewards on day one. let's not forget these rewards are at no cost to the community, and is therefore I think something which everybody should take benefit on, and share with the people around them, because it is a zero cost reward. And it is, I think, because it's zero cost, what have you got to lose, right? For being part of this community, what do you have to lose? And we are backing this with the significant expertise of the board and of the extended investment committee. I believe everybody who was in on our previous boardroom Zoom, they met Ali Maki, who is a seasonal expert when it comes to deploying and also raising capital through these various offices in the Middle East. And this is the caliber of talent that we are exploiting on behalf of the community. We are all working very hard for everybody here. I think Farzam's working the hardest of all, because within 3 more days, I believe, by the time we do the next Zoom, you will be in London.
Exactly. I'll be in London. I'll participate again, and then beyond that, once this process completed and the capital raise goes to the project in Malaysia, I'll be in Dubai. And so we will plan for the next phase.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up, I really want to give Tris and Ralph an opportunity to laser focus in on the PCC structure and how it is related to the German pension funds that Ralph has had significant decades of experience in. I believe on the back end, in the Academy section of the Stable DAO portal, we've all, over the last week, dusted off our bios and have all put it into the one PDF document. So I think it'll be great if everybody can log into the Stable DAO backend and have a quick look through, of the board. We're all very experienced, and I think for Tris and Ralph to talk a little bit more and zoom in on the PCC and how it relates to these pension funds as well, I think would be great. So over to you guys.
I can take over from you now, Chris, if you allow. By the way, how are you doing, all folks? You're all looking great. Okay.
You too, Ralph.
Yeah, that's fine. About the PCC structure, Chris and me, we have a 1 year's common history of developing and the PCC, because we had we came from a different project, and the PC, and that's the way I've learned about the PCCs as well. I knew about that many, and I can confirm that that many pension funds and comparable institutional investors love the PCC, and that's for a simple reason. When it comes to what do pension funds need? Pension funds need a steady yield, a steady income, and it's an over-average income would be very welcome as well. But this depends on the asset structure, and what they need in the first place. They need a tenor of like 5 or 10 years or something like this, because they are always middle term and long term orientated within their asset structure and their strategies. And what they need most of all is protected capital. because you don't want to disappoint the industrial corporations that are member corporations of the pension funds, and you don't want to disappoint the pensioners as well. Yeah, so it all needs to be protected, and this PCC structure is the ideal vehicle to do that, because it's you have a. Excuse me for a moment. I'm busy. Yeah, you wait for some minutes. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in a hotel room here in Cologne. They're gonna bring my luggage. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm in the second week of my business travel all around Germany. I can tell you several words about that as well. So again, to the PCC. So you have this overall structure for basic administration and stuff, and you create these individual cells, and these are indeed individual for any customer, for any client, and they are there's a little they are flexible, at least a little bit. And they're totally protected, as Nick just mentioned. It's like a cocoon, you know, and so it's perfect for any pension funds or comparable institutional investors world round. And I can tell you, and you will understand that I'm totally happy with this construction for my client structure here in Germany, because it's tried and true. Everyone, any investors like that they already know the structure, and it provides any benefit for these special kind of investors and asset management. So I'm totally fine with that. And Chris, you did it again. Yeah, you're great. That's all fine. You were pushing all this. And yeah, by the way, I have my second week of traveling around Germany, and today I'm in Cologne. I had a very great exchange with a German life insurer, and as you can imagine, I asked those guys, do you have any idea of Malaysian real estate and infrastructure projects? And I tell you, no, they hadn't. Figure that. And so we had a great exchange about that, and the benefits of blending in some infrastructure into their pension assets. So it's very interesting exchange that we had, and I will still be busy with different clients and possible investors by end of the year. Yeah, that's from my side.
That's great. I think Tris, you're on mute. My turn to remind you.
Amazing. I never go on mute, and that's why. Yeah, thanks, Ralph.
You're not only mute, you're in the dark.
So the protected cell, also from the German pension point of view, allows for a Schuldschein, which is the German word. It's a slightly different kind of structure for capital protection, but it's actually can be used exactly the way we're using it, but it means something slightly different under the language. But basically, a Schuldschein allows for the full capital protection of the investment within the cell. So Ralph and I have been working on how to include that into the cell, and maybe even provide a number of cells for specifically tailored for different pension funds, and also with different terms as well, and varying it to their needs. So yes, we've been working on that for a year now. We're a long way down the line. We have the final product ready to go from my birthday, which is very soon indeed.
Come on, don't be shy. Yeah. When's your birthday?
1st of November, All Saints Day, of course.
Nice.
Okay, so everybody's heard that. The community will be
And for your
Sending you
information,
happy birthday messages on the 1st of November.
Yeah, 1st of November, I will be en route from London to Belgium, to Leuven, where our headquarters of Belgian Renewable Energy Group is. So
with Brig, right? Yes.
In fact,
yeah.
I am meeting them in London, and I want to introduce, when we have the end result of this round of the stable DAO, I would like to bring our own company. That is our own company where I am the chairman and 30% shareholders. I would like to bring, we have about 2T of energy power generation projects in the pre-development phase completed. And we have in the US alone, $1.5 billion worth of projects. It is our own projects that I would like to bring into the stable DAO for the next round. So again, everywhere we go, we are preparing for the future. These are all assets, will be producing yield assets. You know how power generation of solar is like infrastructure. Maybe the original return on investment is not high, but it is a long term. After the investment payback period, it is a free ride. Normally 20 to 30 years of free ride of returns on investment. So we have tons of these projects in our own in-house, and I will be talking to Sam and Tris. Tris is already in touch with the Belgian Renewable Energy Group, the CEO, and so this is just as a pre-information is always good. When we finish one round, we talk about what is coming in the next round for the people to be in the picture.
Absolutely. And what I think needs to be highlighted is what I've been able to learn from my good friend Ali, who Nick was so kind to make the introduction to. He said that pension funds ultimately need to deploy capital into income generating assets. And the problem with land that is unproductive, that hasn't been connected to infrastructure, is it's not income generating. So we can see the potential value, but no one's willing to be involved from a pension fund standpoint in that kind of value creation, because it is not income generating.
Because pension funds want to park the money and get what we call it a yield generating, very easy money, but long term. They don't look for a high return, but also low risk, but long term returns. Yeah.
Exactly, and that is why I believe we've put together a great team here to exploit the generating of income on newly rezoned land that can do not just agriculture, but much more. So I think the opportunity for what we have is immense. A Belgian renewable group, they have solar farms, which of course just means putting solar panels on flat plains of grass, right? It's as simple as that.
Well, we have in Texas a large parcels of land, and also we are working with ConocoPhillips on previous refineries roof. We have also rooftop or land. So there are two different types. In fact, you can even have it on the water, floating solar. So we have already all the three types in our portfolio. And by the way, Ali Makki is coming to London. He also made preparations with Sheikh Anud. They're coming to London to meet all the investors that I have. So there will be a whole regrouping of all internal teams together in London. And for your information, we are issuing a $5 billion government bond, government of UK. With the new Prime Minister's team, we are issuing a $5 billion government bond whose issuance is by us, and yet the buyers are already pre-organized. So we would like part of it, only part of it, because the institutionals have already committed to buy it. But we want part of it to be open also to our retail market. So this is the reverse of what we are doing now. This is very important information. In our Malaysian deal, we are opening the subscription first for the retail and for the basically digital community, then to the institutional. In the government bond, we are doing the reverse. First, the institutional will offtake a major part of it. That means that this project is already assured and insured and guaranteed because there is 70% of the $5 billion is already committed and then will be bought. Then the rest, even the last 20%, we open it for the retail. And the destination will come to our projects in Zimbabwe and elsewhere in Africa, and where you also visited, Sam, in Nigeria. So it's a very beautiful blend. Project in Malaysia, first the digital community, then institutional, government bond of England, first institutional, then the community, and the destination going to the new projects in the emerging markets in Africa. So while we do Asia and Africa, the two main growing markets globally.
Absolutely. And all of this wrapped up in the protected cell structure. Anything that Stable DAO does in a protected cell structure, I think, is how we be responsible for our participants. And of course, we need to be forthcoming of how these opportunities are really capitalized on. I think there's of course a lot of feedback from the community because the community has grown significantly, and there's still a lot of questions yet to be answered, and that's because we haven't done enough of these boardroom Zooms. But also very important to note that we are under NDA for many of these transactions, and that we are not at the stage where we have closed off the early participation program. So far, there is not 1 cent collected from the market. And until after the early participation program has concluded, the data room is still being put together. And because we haven't collected a single penny, it just means that we still have time. But once we open up the opportunity to the market after the early participation program, the retail investors and of course institutional investors that participate all have access to the same data room. They have visibility into all the transactions that we are looking at doing, and can therefore read through the contracts the upside and the opportunity at hand. So I understand that we are moving at a speed that is leaving a lot of spaces blank when it comes to Stable DAO, but we did not do this intentionally in the sense that we're trying to hide anything. No, we're doing it because it is not the time to actually show all the cards, because we're right now in the community building phase, the registration phase, and the KYC phase, which has nothing to do with the data room or any of the documents that we have already signed or are about to sign to capitalize on the opportunity. So I just want to thank everyone's participation in this specific boardroom Zoom, which does a very, very deep dive into specifically the visibility into the opportunity itself, and that everything will happen all in good time. The EPP is only 4 days away from being closed, and there will be full transparency on the entire structure and deal flow. So to put all people who want to participate with their hard-earned money to put their concerns to rest. Is that fair in saying so, Tris?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. We've been working extremely hard to get that right.
Absolutely. So 4 more days, and let's push hard. You know, Ali Maki wants this community to be over 500,000, according to our last Zoom. So, you know, we are almost halfway there, 220,000 signups. Let's make sure not only the registrations grow, but also the KYC are completed as well. Thank you, everyone, for being part of
Allow me, you know, you already noticed my character. Even we are partners, even the community is there. I always like to be very transparent and open. And to here, I want to appreciate you, Trace, Ralph, also Sam, and also, of course, all the team. The main point that I saw is that because of the need to move fast, because of the season, we moved fast, first launched the event, then did the Zoom calls. In the meanwhile, we are creating fast the structures to match and all the protections. I see how genuine you are working, how every single potential, what I call exposure, you are managing it and covering it and also blocking it. And so myself, even though I'm a partner, over the time of the last 2 weeks, I also increased my own confidence in you. It is very important that even within a family, there is dynamic. So we are a team, yes, but to see how everyone is performing in providing a real product, a serious, genuine product, and any exposure and any risks that you are managing it and you are protecting it. And as I see in the 2 weeks, we are fast completing it. For me, it is very, very commendable of your work. And also Nicholas, I did not forget you. So I'm very proud of the team that has proven to me how genuine and serious you are. And anytime I know internally we had consultation, any exposure, any problem, any issues, we worked it out very well. So I see the elements of a very mature team. Each one of us alone is a giant, but put together, I have seen how this magic is working. I just wanted to share this with you, my team members and partners, and also with the community, that this is a greatness in the making. We are not over-promising you. We want to share with you that we have the different challenges of structural preparations alongside with the marketing and promotion.
Absolutely. So this has been the second last boardroom Zoom. Next boardroom Zoom will be when we close the EPP and announce the results. The structure that defines us is the title of this boardroom Zoom, and I just want to highlight it's defining our integrity, because with strong structures, learning from the best, and of course putting it into I think the most institutional ready-made structure that is a protected cell, I think is the right move to be responsible to handle the community demand and protect the community's participation as well. So I think we're running up to the 1 hour mark, so let's call it there. Thanks again, everybody, for your time, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the 29th after we've successfully closed off the registrations of the early participation program. Thank you, everyone.
Woohoo! Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. See you. Bye.
Good night, everyone, wherever you are. Take care.